Also, here's another really great hack when you're sending in mixtapes. I don't know why no one does this. It worked really fucking well for me. And I actually really appreciate when people do it as well. If you're a DJ and you've been sending your SoundCloud mixes to promoters or nightclub event pages and not getting responses or not getting booked, this is the video for you. I've been both a DJ as well as the person responsible for booking DJs, and so I've been inundated with a bunch of messages and emails from people that have wanted to play at shows. I've seen some really good ones, I've seen some really bad ones, I've seen ones that my friends have also gotten as well. And so what I'm going to share with you in this video is the guiding principles you can use when you're submitting mixtapes and trying to get booked and get more responses and more bookings and less just getting ghosted by people. Hey guys, my name is Brandon. I used to DJ and produce as Wilco. I don't DJ anymore, but what I share on this YouTube channel is the important lessons I learned in my early 20s when I was DJing, a lot of the dumb mistakes that I made, as well as stuff that was just helpful in my career. And I share it with you guys because some of those lessons were emotionally, financially, or physically expensive, and I'd rather those lessons just not go to waste and you guys be able to use them, so I just shared them on this YouTube channel. Other than that, let's get stuck into it. So firstly, you don't want to be messaging the Facebook page or the Instagram, because more often than not, there will be a bunch of different social media managers on that page. So there'll be like half a dozen people looking at it, which means no one really has an obligation to respond. And you'll also just get flooded and like pushed to the bottom of the email inbox or the like page inbox with people that like lost their rose gold iPhone or their black Mimco bag on Friday night. Honestly, I've been admin on like dozens of social media pages for nightclubs, and the mixtapes, they do not get looked at most of the time. If the club night's relatively established, it's probably not going to get listened to, so you want to be finding the person that's actually responsible for it. Now, the first hack to find out who's responsible for the bookings is go watch my fucking previous video last week. But if you haven't watched that and you don't have the opportunity to go to the nightclub to meet the people, here's one really simple hack you can use to find out, or at least get close to who's responsible for the bookings. Go to the Facebook or the Instagram page, turn on notifications for posts, and just see who likes or comments on their posts first. Because typically what will happen as soon as an announcement goes up, that announcement will get put into a promoter group chat, and then all those people will start liking and commenting on it. So if you go through those first few couple likes and comments, just go to their profiles, you can probably find the person responsible for the bookings. Same goes for the first people to click going or interested in the event, or for any like local nightclub or like music interest Facebook groups and things like that. People that are like sharing the events into there, they're probably the promoter or someone very close to them. Now, if you haven't absolutely for sure found the person responsible for bookings, you can at least get close and start messaging people politely to try and find out who is. That's just a simple message. It's like, hey guys, I love your event. I don't want to be spending mixtapes to the wrong people. Do you know who I could contact about, possibly playing sometime? Just point me in the right direction. Hopefully they'll reply. Now, once you do find the person that you know is responsible for the bookings, the overarching principle you need to use is you need to make it as easy for them as possible to actually listen to and make a decision on your mixtape. So I'm going to give you a bunch of really practical advice on how you can do that exactly. Firstly, when you actually contact them, don't do the whole fucking pleasantries of like, hey, how are you? And then waiting for them to respond and doing all this small chat and this back and forth stuff. Like, they honestly hate it because they get messages all the fucking time. They've got so many unread messages, and so every single like, hey and hey, how are you? I'm good, how are you? Like, all that stuff, it's honestly just a waste of their time. I'm not saying don't do pleasantries, I'm just saying do it in one message. So what the message would look like is something like, hey man, how are you? I've been a big fan of the event you've been promoting recently. I'm a DJ myself. I'm sure you get messages like this all the time. I'd love the opportunity to play sometime. I just want to check, you the person responsible for mixtapes? If that's the case, I've just linked a mixtape below. But if I've contacted the wrong person, my apologies. Is there someone that would be better to contact about this? Thanks, have a nice day. So in that one message, you've said hey, you've said how are you, so you've got the pleasantries out of the way. You've also politely asked like, hey, have I actually contacted the right person? My apologies if you're not the right person. Do you know someone that is? And they've got the link to the mixtape. So in online advertising and digital marketing, there's these principles to increase the conversion rate of a landing page, and they're as few clicks as possible, as few keystrokes as possible, and as few scrolls as possible. And that message addresses all of them because they don't need to keep typing back to you and responding to everything. They've already got the link there. And so in that one message, you've just knocked out everything in one go. So just make it as easy as possible for them to actually listen to the mixtape without having to go back and forth and maybe just like forgetting your inbox. Now, when you send the mixtape, for the fucking love of God, please make sure when you send them the mix that you send them has to be relevant to the music policy of the night that you're applying to play out. The number of times, I was literally just talking to someone about this. The number number of times DJs will send a mix to like someone responsible for the bookings and they'll just send fucking any mixtape or like half a dozen different ones. All it shows is that you probably haven't come to the night and you haven't cared enough to do any research on the music policy of the event. Also, here's another really great hack when you're sending in mixtapes. I don't know why no one does this. It worked really fucking well for me. And I actually really appreciate when people do it as well. Make sure you have a track list, because the track list is essentially just a summary and the cliff notes for the person that's about to listen to it. So when I get to the mixtape's probably gonna be like 30 or 60 minutes long, right? If I get to that, I'm like, fuck, this is like 30 or 60 minutes. Obviously you can just like click and like scroll through it and things like that. But also what you can do is you just go to the track list and go, hey, like, are these songs actually in the right music policy and does this look interesting? If I look at the track list, I'm like, yep, that's the right music policy and some of this like looks like it might be really interesting, I'm more likely to then listen to the whole thing. So put your fucking track lists in there. Now you might chat a bit back and forth. They'll be like, yep, cool man, I'll go have a listen to it. Now you're in the follow-up game because they're not gonna listen to it then and there, right? So a common question is like, hey, like when should I follow up next? My best approach to follow-up is just managing expectations. So follow-up is only really annoying if they're not expecting it. I always say people are only disappointed when their expectations don't meet reality. So as long as you can always manage their expectations, they'll never be disappointed in you. And so once they're like, yeah, that's cool, man, I'll have a listen, thanks for sending this through, I'd send them something like, cool, thanks, man, I know you probably got loads of these to listen to. I don't want to be that really annoying guy that's nagging your inbox. When's a reasonable time for me to follow you up for feedback or just like let it go? Now what that says is, firstly, you're asking for feedback, not when should I message you to see if I've got the gig or not? It's like, hey, when should I message you for feedback? When's best to reach back out if I don't hear from you? And you're also asking like, hey, if I don't hear from you in 2 weeks, should I just consider it a no? And then they can actually say like, yeah, man, I actually am really busy. I probably won't get around to it till like this weekend. Yeah, just sling me a message next week and hopefully I've got around to it. Then when you message them the next week, they're already expecting it because you already discussed that. And so it's not just like a random message out of the blue. You're not messaging them too early. You're not messaging them too late. You're messaging them exactly when they said, I'm going to expect a follow-up here, or I'm probably going to get back to you before this time. Now, the last step, and this is really important, so I hope all of you do it. It's just be patient, bro. This isn't gonna fucking happen overnight. You're gonna get ghosted by a bunch of people. It's hard, bro. A lot of people wanna be DJs. So just keep at it. I believe in you, bro. I reckon we're all gonna fucking make it, but you just gotta try at least, man. So as long as you do all of this stuff, you just increase your chances. You'll get more gigs, better gigs, and you'll be able to enjoy doing what you love. Go fucking get them.